What's up, runners? At the time of writing this, it's been about a day since the marathon gameplay reveal, and I've spent most of that time going frame by frame through the footage and rewatching the stream, and I've been thinking. I want to give you guys my thoughts coming off the reveal stream, touch on some of the talking points I've heard, and put out some other topics to discuss as well. There's going to be a mix of things that I liked, things I disliked, and the oddball, notable detail tossed in here. But let's start with an overview of the reveal stream. Overall, I would say the game landed about where I expected as an in-between of Tarkov's economy system and the speed of Destiny. But maybe they reached that status in a very different way than I imagined they would. We can see this in the lootables and the variety therein, but also in the burst of speed and verticality on some of these runners. At first, between the two gameplay trailers, I felt like something was off. The footage they showed us felt weirdly like clunky and slow, but the streamer highlight video alleviated a lot of that greatly, and I now feel that some of that weirdness might just be because it was for cinematic experiences on the trailer and was recorded with the controller for some more fluid looking movement, rather than what it would look like to play the game seriously. The time to kill seemed really low, and then I realized almost all that footage was people going for body shots instead of headshots. And we see the streamers kill people faster than that, which is great, because it seems more in line with the pace of the movement. The inventory system's somewhere between Tarkov and Apex, where we have these valuables to sell, consumables and weapons, but also ammo stacks instead of magazines, which at first felt really out of place, but in retrospect, I think it's a good middle ground between a million Tarkov ammo types and Hunt having no ammo management of the ammo at all. This gives you the kind of general light and heavy ammo types instead of, 7.62 or 5.56. So it's a little more flexible, but also less stressful to overall just look and find and fill up your inventory between games. That said, I do want to get some things that I didn't like out of the way and talk about those now. First and foremost, in the past when they described the runners as having customizable skill sets to choose from, I was under the impression that they were going to go for a dark and darker skill system, but they pretty much just went with static skills and passives per every runner. Straight up, I don't think the system is what they said it was going to be, and I don't like it very much at all. I think it should be more fluid than that. They went very deep on the customization for your loadouts and these cores and these implants, and it feels like this whole runner system should have been more flexible. And it's kind of what they talked about doing. But to go with that, they also didn't go for full customization for your aesthetics for your character. They showed us different styles in the cinematic, but in the gameplay, they didn't show anything like that. Now, it could be that they still have that, and that the gameplay just shows things that are going to be in the alpha and not in the 1.0, that could have a bunch of extra skills and customization hidden for 1.0. But as of right now, if they're showing us gameplay, I would have to say we're going to call it how we see it. If they're showing us it's just the runners and just those abilities, that's all I'm going to say that's there. I wouldn't say ability sets are a deal breaker, but I'm disappointed that they wouldn't have stated that clearly before now, and that this whole customization between your aesthetics and your runner was going to be a very big part for a lot of players. And I'm disappointed that they did not continue with that or go with that. And if they have gone with that, I feel like they should have shown that. Obviously, they need these runners to have a distinct look for clarity and for readability, but they could still be customized within that framework. Like, Locust could have different colors and styles for their helmet that the players can mess with and customize and make their own, but I digress. I would also say I'm not a huge fan of the health system. It's pretty much straight from Apex, which isn't bad per se. I'm just not sure it's as streamlined as it could be. It's a Battle Royale's health system, basically straight from Apex, period. There could have been more nuance in having small shields, but they regenerate, or just a larger HP pool, without changes, and make changes to the healing items, so they heal like Tarkov with X amount of HP per item, or like Hunt with X amount of uses per item. I just think it's a very simple system, and I don't think it's bad inherently. I just don't see the point in making it so much more complicated when the inputs to heal with Hunt and Tarkov have already been simplified so much more. And I feel like we've innovated past where Apex wasn't healing. The last thing I want to harp on is the fog in this map specifically. I don't know why there's so much fog, even at like medium ranges. The game has these really colorful and nice looking insides and close quarters. I don't know why it has to look so foggy and grayed out the further you go. Sure, you could say, oh, let's make snipers not overpowered, but it looks like a lot of the guns have travel speed already, maybe even some bullet drop. It's kind of hard to tell because there's so much fog, but I don't think it needs the fog, and it makes the game just look worse. I really want the game to lean into this bold color style that they went with, and it feels like they either aren't fully on board with the art style, or maybe just the dynamic weather system they've been making has this fog as an option, and they just happen to show us the one match where it was foggy the entire time. Either way, I really don't like if this fog is going to be ubiquitous throughout the game. I think it's going to hurt the game's aesthetic way too much. And if they wanted to add fog later on, they could have done that as a kind of dynamic effect, and it would have worked out. But to reveal the game in the middle of a foggy swamp feels really weird when the game is so colorful otherwise. Now, as for the things I really liked from the reveal, I do really think that the runners are at least distinct enough from one another. While I have the gripes with their skill sets and their skills, I do like that they have a wide range of applications, and that there's no restrictions on your composition. So you can go in, 3 glitches, 3 voids, whatever. I don't know if that's going to be what we're going to do or not, but I really like how they all look to play, and I can see myself playing any of these at different times. If I want to go shotgunning, I can see myself playing void or glitch or even locust. But if you wanted to play more AR, I can see Blackhawk being really good. I really do like their looks. I like the aesthetics they chose for these characters and the way their abilities look when you use them in first person and third person, which I feel like Bungie's always been good at. That's kind of their thing with Destiny, right? I also liked how the weapons look. The weapons look interesting. The energy SMG has a really unique firing style. I don't know if it overcharges or overheats, but it has a very unique usage. I also like the customizations with mods that you can do for both the character and for the weapons. These are going to be like the weapon attachments, as well as your cores and implants. They look like it's going to be very customizable, and it looks like it's going to be very impactful. I love the double barrel and the DMR. They both look great. I love that they showed a 0 to hero run, even though they did die. I do like that we saw them load in with knives, just to give some people this feeling of, I could load him with a knife and fight one bot and get a gun. Totally possible. The creator point of views did feel fun to watch, but I think people have to get their hands on the game to really experience like the emotions that come with an extraction shooter. A lot of playing an extraction shooter is the fear of losing your loot, or the tension of you found good stuff and you don't want to die, which isn't really going to be in like a closed alpha, or watching a trailer you can't really experience that. So I think that's something that people are going to have to get their hands on to really experience and come to terms with and explain. The AI enemies also look very diverse and engaging to fight. While I think the game should have had 4 feature as their headliner enemy, and I'm not totally sold on these UESC bots. They seem a little generic. I mean, you can tell, there's like a shield one, and there's the boss ones, and there's the invisible ones. But they're not like as poppy as I feel like the aliens could be. The 4 could have really stood out in terms of looking different from the background and the rest of the world around them. And I feel like they would have been more exciting to see. I was really thrown off seeing them in there in the first trailer. However, I'm happy with how the PvE encounters look to be set up, and I'm happy that they drop a lot of lootables. They look like they're engaging to fight. It looks like it'll be fun to kill them. I don't like them aesthetically. If they functioned exactly the same, but they were 4, I feel like I'd be a lot happier. But that's just a personal gripe, really. I do really like also the quest system. As I understand it, you're going to have your own personal contracts from the factions that you can complete that will give you rep for your factions, among other things. But also, your squad is given an objective whenever you load in. I don't know what the exact purpose of it is. I don't know if you get money from it, or XP, or bonus rep. But I think it's a good premise to help people make some money and have a goal each time they come into the game. If it's just a requirement to extract, I think it's a bit superfluous and should probably just get, be gone. Because most of the time when you're playing an extraction shooter, you want to be able to extract whenever you feel like it. I think the revive system is great, though I don't know what the exact benefit is to res somebody who's down but not out instead of eliminated. They seem to take about the same amount of time, but maybe that's wrong. Maybe the benefit is just that they can crawl to get out of cover, or they have eyes on people. but I think it would be ideal to have it be more punishing to res somebody who's totally eliminated. I do like that you can res your eliminated teammates as well as your down but not out teammates. That way there's no case where you're dead and your team can keep playing without you. So you're not out of the game until everybody's dead. So there's more reason for you to stay in, more opportunities to survive. Even if your body does get looted, you can still, come back and loot some more things, find some more AI. They do have free loadouts, which is a godsend for new players and for learning the game. That means you can kind of just queue up and spam free loadouts over and over until you learn the map or how the game works, or if you're down on your luck and you're losing money, you want to make up some funds, just keep queuing up free loadouts, why not? Great system, much more fun to be able to actively progress your character than using like a Scav and Tarkov. And of course, you can just continue to customize after getting the free loadout. So maybe you get a starter loadout and you want some extra meds, or you want some extra grenades, or you wanted to switch out one of the weapons for another weapon or add in a second weapon. You could totally do that still and still have, a mostly free loadout. I think it's a perfect idea to let people be able to spam games. I just really want to see, what else you can get out of the free loadouts. I want to see exactly what it queues up with. Are we getting guns, meds, grenades, and implants? Are we just getting a gun and some ammo? I need to see exactly what that is, but as a premise, it's a good premise. As always, the art style is great, phenomenal even. I love how it looks in these interiors and around the buildings and in the wild until the fog shows up. The cinematic trailer was really cool, but I feel like the alien nature of the game hasn't shown up in gameplay yet. I'm sure there's aspects of it that can be changed before they release it in September, but I feel like at this rate, there will be a lot of changes that have to be made post-launch. For a September release, I really would have liked to see more time between this kind of reveal and the release date. It should have allowed for more time for people to watch, react to, playtest, and for Bungie to respond to that feedback. I'm still very much looking forward to playing the game. As I said, it's like really close to what I predicted for the game, just in slightly different aspects. It's a little more Apexy in its mechanics than I expected. However, a lot of that's for readability and probably controller support, so I couldn't say that they're bad mechanics to take. And there's just enough Tarkov adjacent mechanics here that it should be a really fun casual game, but it doesn't look like it's going to be this mind-numbing spreadsheet gaming kind of game where you're going onto a wiki constantly to look up, how your bullets work. Realistically, it's going to take some alpha and beta gameplay to really nail down what the game feels like to play and what the flow of the game is. I'm perfectly happy to wait for the opportunity for us to play the game before really digging into what ends up being a positive or negative, change in the gameplay structure and what I would really want to see changed about the game before a launch. I really, really hope we do get an open beta before launch, because I feel like this is the kind of game where people are going to play it, they're going to have a lot of opinions, and it's going to take a large variety of people playing the game to really nail down some of the harder to nail down aspects of what could be wrong. And a closed alpha is a good start. The streamer thing was a good start, but we really need to get, the masses in. But yeah, with all of that said, how do you guys feel about the reveal? Did the gameplay turn out how you expected it to turn out? I really want to talk about the game more with you all, so please let me know what you're thinking down below. We can keep going on, maybe even get some more video ideas and touch on our topics. I am working on a bit of a breakdown between everything that you could have missed in these trailers, so that's kind of where I've been, having my head out, going frame by frame through these videos. So it's been a little bit, I know I'm a day behind, but I really wanted to sit there and kind of dig into this and think about it deeply. So this is what I came up with. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And I really look forward to possibly being able to play with you all as early as the alpha, if not the beta. So we will see what happens. But that's all for today, everybody. I hope to see you all again very, very soon. And remember, in the heavens, they are waiting.